Awake. Shake dreams from your hair, my pretty child, my sweet one. Choose the day and choose the sign of your day, the day's divinity. First thing you see. A vast, radiant beach and a cool, jeweled moon. Couples naked race down by its quiet side. And we laugh like soft, mad children, smug in the woolly cotton brains of infancy. The music and voices are all around us. Choose, they croon, the ancient ones, the time has come again. Choose now, they croon, beneath the moon, beside an ancient lake. Enter again the sweet forest, enter the hot dream, come with us. Everything is broken up in dances. Indians scattered on dawn's highway bleeding, ghosts crowd the young child's fragile eggshell mind.
Welcome to the Grunt Free Press Podcast, episode 243. I don't know what you're still doing here. I thought I told everyone to fuck off a long time ago. I don't even know why I'm here, quite frankly. I have nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. It's sad, really, when you think about it. The isolation of modern society, the meaninglessness of our existence, the godless, heathen animal beings our species has become. I mean, you know, we're at the end times and you can drive up to Dunkin' Donuts and buy a bag of bacon for $1. That's the true mark on the de-evolutionary chart. You know, dawn of man, we hunt, then we farm, and everyone used to be self-sufficient, basically taking care of their crops and their livestock. You plant the grain, the seeds, you know, it grows, you mill it, make flour out of it, make your own bread, churn the butter, milk the cows. Oh, you probably milk the cows first before you churn the butter, but collect the eggs from the chickens, slaughter the pigs that you raise from birth, and you slice and cure the bacon, all that shit. Then you've got drive-through coffee chains where they slap a frozen patty of processed dairy product that somewhat resembles eggs in the microwave. You know, throw that in there, cook up that monstrosity for 30 seconds, and throw it on a bagel that gets delivered by the truckload every morning. That are really only edible for 24 hours, and they get like hard as rocks. So, and as a consumer, in every sense of the words, you know, it's like, it's too much work chewing through this gooey mess of a sandwich to get to the fattiest and saltiest parts that I really want. You know, can you just like throw that meat into a bag so I can shove it down my fucking gullet? They do use the sweet black pepper bacon though for those bags of bacon, so which I think that was the right call. And that shit is pretty fucking tasty. The video game podcast, by the way, not as tasty as www.gruntfreepress.com though. That tastes like raspberries. So if you lick your computer monitor, your mobile device, where you have that website up, you'll get the taste of raspberries, believe it or not. Go ahead, try it. If you don't believe me, I'll wait. It's good, right? You liked it? Well, that's actually not raspberries. That's your own cum. I knew you were an asexual little faggot. I'm Absolute Deicide, and the quest to find a game that holds my attention for more than a few hours continues throughout this week, too. If you don't want to suffer through these, whatever, whiny, asinine nonsense, go nowhere fucking recordings until Doom Eternal comes out. Send some fucking suggestions about what I should be playing. Tell me what I'm missing over at podcast@gruntfreepress.com. Because otherwise, I've been thinking about replaying the same shit I've been playing for like 30 fucking years. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck else to do right now. That I do have a room full of old video game garbage, remember? So I probably should take advantage of that. But yeah, don't let me go exclusively retro, because that would suck. I don't want to be one of those guys, one of those retro guys. That's awful. That's what I know. I should just fucking jump off of a bridge. I did find something good this week, but I'm going to keep you in suspense about what it is. I was getting caught up in those complex, super long, really involved games. And it's part of my problem when I got to start something, just be like, I don't know if I want to fucking deal with all these menus and learning this shit, so I'm just going to give up and try something else. I am retarded, let's not forget. I played some more Neverwinter Nights for a few hours, which seems like a fine game, but I did run into a giant spider, as is want to happen in Dungeons and Dragons games. So yeah, I got my first taste of poison and fucking stat drains and all that shit. That sucked. I mean, that always sucks in those games. It's not like it's a long process to recover from it or anything, but up until that point, I'm doing fine in the game. I'm kicking ass, moving ahead. I got my cleric going. I'm fucking doing heals and shit, and picking locks of the rogue companion that I had, and everything's going swimmingly. It seems like it's fucking fine. Like, I can do this game. Like, it's pretty simple. Then giant spider, and you pretty much fighting that thing. You're gonna get poisoned no matter what you do. Like, I don't know if there's any real way to like prepare yourself to not get poisoned when you're fucking fighting that thing. So you figure out I'm a fucking cleric in like heavy armor, and I'm like buffing myself and shit, going into this fucking fight a giant spider. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Like, you might get one or two hits that you won't get poisoned, but eventually you're getting the poison in you. Then fucking your health is draining. You lose a point or two of like strength or something like that when you're poisoned too. So now you're over encumbered. You can't run, and you have a lesser chance to hit with your melee weapon. And if you do hit the thing, you're doing like jack shit for damage, because again, your fucking melee damage is based on your strength, and your strength is lowered. So just a cascade of shit. I think he had like some spell or some buff to cure poison, but I think that's like one of his the cleric spells is like, remove poison. So again, it's like, cool, I have that, should make it a lot easier, but it just cures it. So it's like, you're fighting this fucking spider, you're poisoned, cure the poison, and then immediately you get hit again, you're poisoned again. So it's like, what the fuck is the point of this? I hate it. I hate it all. I know the health drain is enough shit to deal with without like your stats changing, and it's like, therefore your fucking Thaco changes, and therefore you're fucked. I mean, don't make me fucking do math. It's like, fucking my brain's poisoned. Don't make me do fucking math on top of that. I'd rather be fucking poisoned in real life. There's this randomness to all Dungeons and Dragons games, the ones that are faithful to the tabletop anyway. It's fucking dealing with dice rolls or percentages. That's like the game pretty much. Or it's like, you're doing like a tabletop game with you're simulating rolling dice. Everything's gonna have like a chance to miss, and it's all about like your odds and fucking the luck as you're rolling. I get that, but I don't know if that makes for a great video game when you're doing that constantly. Like, that's like the entire thing, you know, like that's the entire game is just based on dice rolls pretty much. I just instantly died a few times because I opened a trap door that exploded, and it's just like whatever, you failed like a perception check or something, so you couldn't tell that it was trapped. So it's pretty much, I mean, what that translates into playing a video game is like, hey, a door, you open it, it explodes and you die. Cool, you know, if I can like reload, like fucking cool game, I guess. You know, it's just like, well, hope my last save wasn't too far back. You know, it's like old school dungeon design, but it's also a crock of old school horseshit. So it's how it goes. So I'm in the city called Neverwinter, believe it or not. And I'm looking for clues to find the plague creatures or whatever. That's like my main quest, is to find those creatures that got kidnapped or killed or whatever in the fucking beginning of the game. And, you know, head out to the main city, and it's pretty open-ended, it seems like. But most people that I'm talking to, as soon as I get outside in the main city, they're pushing me towards the poor district first. It's like, you know, go to the beggars district or whatever. That's like open. Like everywhere else, it's like, oh, well, you can get past this gate in this other district. You gotta do like all these other quests and shit. It's like, oh, you can just walk into the fucking poor district. Everyone's like, oh, just go check that out. So I do, and it's not very difficult in there. So I figure I'm on the right path. It's like fucking none of these enemies are hard to kill. Everything's open. You know, there's nothing like crazy like fucking boss creatures. It's just zombies and shit. I found it a little confusing, just the way the city's laid out, and you're following these quests that tell you to, you know, just open up your log, your journal, whatever. It's like, go to this building in the center west of the district, and there's like, you open up your map, and like in what you would consider like the center west, there's like 8 different buildings that you can enter. So, and they all kind of like look the same. So that was kind of confusing me. I'm just like, I'm not really sure like the direction that they're sending me in for these quests. So I was just kind of wandering around and trying to figure shit out on my own. Yeah, I mean, all the enemies I'm fighting they're just like no problem zombies in the street, and some like low level mages and shit. Even like an imp or two, like a little demon or whatever, and just like I'd run up to them, a couple hits with the mace I had, and they fucking die. Like, just like, all right, very simple low level enemies. They should be on the right track. And if they do like hit me, and they're barely touching me, it was just, you know, it was like the only thing so far. It was just up to this point, it's like just that goddamn spider was the only thing that was killing me. So then I get to what I would guess is like the real first boss of the game, and you know, just some mage, some fucking zombie lord mage. But I have turn undead because I'm a cleric, which kills zombies in like an area of attack ring instantly when it wants to. I guess I'm still not fucking sure. It's like, turn undead. Sometimes it kills them. Sometimes it makes them run away. Like, I have fucking no idea. So all I'm really worrying about in this boss fight is that there's like just the mage himself, and even like fighting him wasn't going too poorly either. Like, I'd get him down, you know, I'd start swinging on him, I'd connect, and I'd get him down to like, you know, I'd say he was almost dead. Like, his fucking hit points are red. He's getting ready to die. And then he'd heal himself. And then he'd cast some kind of like fire spell that would kill me in like half a second. I tried fighting him a couple times. He killed me, and reload, try it again. And I'm like, all right, it's just like that one fucking fire spell that's fucking murdering me. And, I should be able to do it. And I mean, you can physically like walk away from it, and you can see it coming, and just move your character quick enough and just avoid like the spaces that it's hitting. Sometimes, I mean, it wasn't like easy, but you know, when the D&D dice deities are in your favor, it went from like a tough battle to just like the last time when I finally beat him, it was just like I ran up to him and annihilated the fuck out of him before he could even like do anything. It's just like a couple seconds, like couple hits, so like critical hits or something. He just fucking like drops dead. I'm like, oh, that was easy. Like, I thought it was gonna be this big drawn out thing. Just run up there and fucking murder him. So what I was saying about just the random nature of it. It's just like, I did the same shit I did like a dozen times before that I wasn't successful here, but just because the dice rolls worked out, this guy's fucking dead. Dungeons and Dragons, everybody. So So I was looking pretty good. I mean, I'm in high spirits about playing through Neverwinter Nights, even if it's not the most exciting game in the world, but it's something. It's like, I can just fucking keep playing this. It's got to be, if I could get through it this easily. But there's a dude in my chat the entire time that I'm playing, and he's like explaining like every little thing about Neverwinter Nights, like, different builds and what items are worth what. Like, you see me like looting somebody. He's like, oh, you're going to leave that? I'm like, yeah, it's just a fucking whatever, +1 sword or some shit. Like something I can't even use. I don't want to use. Like, oh, well, get it for the gold. And it's fucking, so yeah, I mean, he's like, oh, that's worth 5 gold pieces or whatever. So I'm like, I don't know. He's like, whatever. He seems like this is like his game, like he fucking plays it all the time. He's beaten it a million times, all that shit. Then I'm kind of like rushing through some of it because I'm trying to get away from micromanaging shit in my video games. So yeah, I just want to get through something, or just something that's going to entertain me for a little bit. I don't want to really dig down into all this fucking inventory weight and fucking encumbrance and all this shit. I'll just go. If it's honestly, it's until I hit like a brick wall, I have to fucking like do that shit. If I can just blow through this, I'll be happy. I keep hitting that recommended button when I level up. I'm not really paying too close attention to like weapons and armor and shit. It's just fucking, looking at stuff I'm picking up, and is this significantly better than what I currently have? Otherwise, I'm not going to fuck around with my inventory and get rid of enough weight to like pick up a mace that does like 8 damage instead of 7 or something like that. It's fucking like, I don't know, unless it's like something like a lot better, I'm not even going to fucking bother. So he's, the guy in my chat's watching that, and he's like fucking like, whoa, you gotta slow down there. Whoa there. Whoa, it's like, oh, this game rewards patience. If you blow through everything, you're probably not going to make it through. And I'm like, I'm just thinking like, well, if that's the case, I mean, you're probably right. Like, I'm not going to make it to the end. So, that's what it's going to take, as me like micromanaging all this shit. So, now that I'm thinking like, well, why am I even bothering in the first place? If that's how it's going to be, it's going to be one of these fucking games like that. Then I ask him, I'm just like, yeah, how long does the game take to beat about, just so I have an idea of what I'm in for. And he says, it's like, oh, this is the type of game you play for a couple of months at a time. Then you take a break for a week or two, and you come back and pick it up again, and when you're fresh and, relearn it. And I'm just fucking like, I'm just fucking like you're saying that like it's a good thing. I'm just fucking like, oh, I don't know about that. That doesn't sound very appealing to me. I mean, I'm fine with long games as long as I'm like immersed in the actual gameplay of it. But, the entire time I've been playing Neverwinter Nights, it's been like, it's kind of like generic fucking comfort food as I'm playing. Where I'm just fucking like, it's another Dungeons and Dragons game. I'll play this for a while, whatever. And fucking maybe if I get into it later on, I'll fucking want to beat it. But I don't really fucking plan on playing it for months. If that's what it's going to take, it's like, I'm not going to fucking beat this game. And then he says like, yeah, I do that all the time, but he says he's never beaten it himself. So I was like, that was like another red flag that maybe I should find something else to break my losing streak, my 35-year-long losing streak. A bullet in the head wouldn't be a bad idea to permanently end it. So I was thinking like, I'm like, when was the last time like Zombie Army 4 was fun, and I remember having fun. I remember the concept of fun. So I'm like, fuck it, you know what I mean? I started playing Sniper Elite 4 again after taking about a 3-year hiatus. And now I'm playing it now it looks like a 3-year-old game for some reason. I was playing Zombie Army, like that game looked nice because it was new. Sniper Elite, playing it, it's like, graphics are a little bit rough. I mean, they're not awful, but the character models look kind of funny, and the game always ran a little bit choppy, like when it was new. But I was fucking like, it's one of these things where it's fucking, it's like, it's a newer game. Probably has a couple little bugs they got to iron out and optimize and all that shit. And then I come back to it. It's like, they obviously never cleaned that up or patched it out. Just like how the game runs now, I guess. Wouldn't surprise me if the controller support was still fucked up, which is why I stopped playing it in the first place. I tried playing with like an Xbox One controller, like the trigger didn't work or something. I'm like, that's cool. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's still broken. I'm just using like the mouse and the keyboard now because of again, just because of that past experience of like, if I'm going to play it, I'm not going to bother trying with a controller that's not going to work. Again, I'll just play with the mouse and the keyboard. And I'm a PC elitist snob now too. So, I mean, my main complaint with the game before, other than that fucking the controller didn't work, was that it was open world. You know, like the entire map for each mission is open to you, and there's like objectives dotted all around it. Well, like fucking any other, you look at it like real quick and it's like any other Far Cry or whatever the fuck Assassin's Creed type open world game where it's just fucking like, it's like, oh, it's just like a big kind of not really a flat map, but you can see the entire map when you open it up, and it's just like, oh, it was just objectives dotted around. He's going to go one to the other. You know, like the first level you have to kill 4 Nazi officers, and you know, there's just icons on the map of where they are. You know, you can kill them in any order from anywhere that you want. It does, you know, as long as you have a fucking shot on them, you can go up to like a big tower across the map, I guess. And you know, if you really could find a way to do that, just shoot across the entire map and fucking take them out, and that'd be like the objective done or whatever. Usually can. I mean, it's designed a little bit better than that, where they're not going to just let you take out everyone you have to take out right from the beginning. But you know, there's other objectives too, like to find the intel, or like get a visual on some weapon shipments or whatever. And, you know, there are those cases where it's more like vague about, it's just, you know, go find or like investigate an area you just see on the map, like a big circle with like a question mark in it. And they just want you to get in that area and just like look around for whatever you have to look out for. And yeah, you know, just seeing that format where it just looks like any other open world game where you're following waypoints or whatever. Not exactly what I liked about the other Sniper Elite games, which were much more focused and designed. Like they had like specific ways, specific routes and whatever they wanted you to approach things. Like you could replay and like perfect all the levels if you wanted to. It's just fucking like certain, you know, it's just kind of like linear where you're going, and you know, you might hit a spot where you'd raise alarms. It seems like, oh, this is like impossible to get by. Every time I get to hit this spot in the level, I'm fucking like, you know, someone's going to spot me. I don't know how to get past it. You know, you replay it a couple times and like you explore a bit and you find there's like, oh, there's like a generator here, or you can, you know, you can fuck up the generator and like kick it to make noise. You can like mask your shots and all that shit. Or it's like, oh, okay, there's like a little place here, like a little shadow or whatever, like a tunnel. I can just go in there and hide out. Or like, you know, it's like, oh, here's a sniper's nest somewhere. So, you know, it's just like the old ones were like very calculated, like the level design. And that was like what was brilliant about those games. It just felt very, again, video gamey kind of, but it's just like, hey, here's these different ways to approach different situations. You had to learn like the ins and the outs of each level if you didn't want to just assassinate a target and then fucking like alert everybody and just like switch to an SMG and shoot your way out of there. It kind of reminds me of like a long distance Hitman or something like that type of thing, like one of those stealth games where it's like everything's kind of laid out. You just have to learn like the different routes you can take and shit. And then what little I had played of 4 before. I mean, there's go out and it's very open, just kind of open environment, open fields and shit. And there's bushes everywhere you can hide in. I seemed like most of what I was doing was I get somebody in my, you know, it's like, oh, I can take that guy out. So I might as well. It's like, there's like nothing else around there, even though it might not be a target, but, you know, it's just somebody I can take out to make it easier for later. So, you know, you'd fucking, it's like, all right, I got a shot, take it, hide somewhere, wait, you know, get another fucking beat on somebody, take a shot. You know, then all the guards would get alerted and fucking wait for them for that alert state to calm down and then fucking do the same shit again. It seemed like kind of a pain in the ass, you know what I mean? But more like a fucking like Metal Gear game or something like that. Metal Gear 5 specifically, which is like another like open world game, which is just kind of a pain in the ass to play. But going back to 4 this time, I mean, it's definitely a different style than the previous games had, yes. You know, it takes some time to get used to the UI and the systems in there and shit. You know, you have a mini map in the lower left hand corner of the screen, just shows you, it's like a mini map. It shows you all like, fucking map of the area that follows you as you move. But there's also, it'll show when you get near people, they'll show up as like white circles if they're in range, like as soon as they get in the range of that fucking mini map. But you have to tag them with your binoculars if you want to see like what direction they're facing, and that will also like highlight them in like the normal game, like the normal view. So as long as you have them tagged, you'll always see their gray silhouettes, even if they're walk behind walls, and if they're across the fucking map, it doesn't matter. They'll still be tagged and shit. So yeah, also on that mini map is like a circle around, like, there's a green arrow that represents your character, and there's like a circle around that. So that's supposed to be like your visibility. So if that circle around you like intersects with like an enemy icon, like another circle or arrow if you tag them, and they're facing you, that they'll see you. It's like an indicator. Again, it's like almost like a stealth game, like indicator type thing. I mean, they won't like immediately spot you, but an indicator will pop up. It'll turn like yellow, and then it'll start filling up red. But I mean, that happens really fast. It's not like you don't have much time if somebody starts seeing you to like run away or whatever. Especially if you're playing on hard, like the hard difficulty, like you should be. And then when they do see you and they start shooting at you, you really don't have a lot of health to work around with. It's not really viable to go toe to toe with them and like shoot it out with them with like, SMGs and pistols and shotguns and shit. Like, yeah, it's a sniping game. Like, it makes sense. You're not going to be able to do that, in a game called Sniper Elite. They probably a hint that they want you to snipe from long distances. I'm going to go snipe something real quick. Grab a snipe to eat. I'll be right back. So, back to our discussion about a 3-year-old game. So when you get spotted, the best thing to do is just get out of the area, or at least change positions and pick Nazis off as they run to where they think you are. And to that extent, there's more action than you would expect in a sniping game, or it's just because it's how it was designed. It was just fucking, all right, pretty open world. You're gonna take a shot and possibly be seen, or they're gonna hear or get suspicious after you take that first shot, and you're probably gonna run off. And you still can go for pure stealth and like perfection of each level still, I guess, but just how it is, like, that would be so slow and fucking painful to do that I don't think it would be very fun. And again, video games are supposed to be fun, so I think that, like, that definitely is a downgrade from the previous games, and from my perspective anyway. Again, where it's fucking, I don't want to spend hundreds of hours trying to get through this fucking game. So it's just like, before it was like, it's funny because these levels are somewhat short, and I can sectioned off like they are, and linear. I can just focus on like, but the probably perfect like these a little bit at a time. And it's just like, it's just some open world shit, and stuff's gonna happen randomly sometimes. But dice for the sniper dice rolls. So, here you can be like silent and methodical until you find like an ideal spot to start shooting, where you're far enough away that even if they do hear the noise, like there's not people over close enough to you, they're going to spot you immediately. There's still like generators and other things around that will make noise to mask your fire. Like there'll be planes going by overhead, and if you time it right, you can mask your fucking shot that way. But again, it's just like, it would be so slow to like try to like sit there and like every 3 or 4 minutes wait for a fucking plane to go by so you can have enough time to take like one shot, and you're trying to kill like 100 fucking targets, or 100 people per fucking level. Like that would take so long. So you just find a place that gives you enough of a height advantage and like distance, and you can just start a fucking Nazi massacre and not worry about being seen or heard, really. And they'll run towards you and try to like take cover or whatever. You can pick off like dozens of them when they don't really have a way to retaliate. Doing that kind of felt wrong somehow at first. Like, you shouldn't be making that much noise and like slaughtering that many Nazis. Like, what do they ever do to anyone? But it's just, again, from the previous games, just kind of smaller scale. For the first couple times I did that, I thought they just like keep coming. I thought there were going to be endless reinforcements, because so many bodies were piling up. It was like, I'm fucking just slaughtering all these guys. I think like maybe if you get physically spotted by somebody, they'll call for backup, not just like the normal alert, but they have to like physically spot you. And then like, I think additional people will spawn in, but there's still like a finite amount of them that'll come in. There's specific types of like spotter soldiers or whatever, like radio backup guys. They have like big backpacks on to call in reinforcements. And I think maybe like if those guys see you, or if they get alerted, maybe they call in more fucking reinforcements than usual, or they call in like heavies with like specialized fucking soldiers with like body armor and like LMGs and shit. Like those guys will show up as reinforcements. But in general, if you have like a good enough spot, you can just go to town, and they just fucking, everybody just like panics and hides if you're far enough away, sniping as you should be. So the levels are designed kind of puzzly in that sense, like just rather than like the tight scenario where you're trying to figure out how to best like avoid or kill like half a dozen Nazis at a time. Now it's this larger scale thing where you're having these long stretches of just like sneaking around and like using like a silenced pistol to take out people that you absolutely have to take out if they're in your way. But for the most part, you're kind of like avoiding like any kind of combat to get to a place where you're gonna have like a good line of sight, and again like enough distance that you can fire without worrying about getting spotted immediately. And then it's just like after that, it's once you're in that spot, it's like a ludicrous amount of violence and gore, and you almost have like an unlimited amount of like that slow motion bullet time, and it's just fucking like bam, 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 fucking bullet cam of somebody's eye and brain fucking exploding, and bullets going through their heart. Nazi shot through the heart, and I'm to blame, and liver shots and shrapnel. You shoot the grenades off the belt, and it's fucking, all the good shit about Sniper Elite. It's fucking just like, oh, it's fucking just chaos and shit, and just all this fucking like violence. All that shit is still in there, and there's probably more of it than ever. I mean, it's fucking the way there's just like so much you do, and it's just slaughter. Again, it's like slaughtering all these fucking people at once. It's just like constant. Once you get there, it just takes longer to get to that point. It's a longer setup and just more of a fucking reward, I guess, when you get there. But yeah, once you settle into that rhythm, it is fun. I mean, it's a little bit looser. I mean, you can fuck up more, and again, because it's open world, it's not like fucking like, oh, I'm kind of trapped in this little area and this little on a cliff somewhere or something like that. It's like I have plenty of room. If somebody, if I do get spotted, I can just run off and just run in a direction and get away. But you can cause a lot of general mayhem, and that's the fun part. So it's kind of a toss up between, I do like the tight level design of like the older Sniper Elites, but I also like setting up a fucking slaughter and it's like this more like sandboxy way, and just like murdering people for 15 minutes straight once I get it. The game is not bad either. There are some things that still kind of piss me off or are at least like weird about the game. Like the enemy AI is kind of inconsistent. Go figure that would happen in an open world game. But they'll be walking back and forth. You see the guards, the soldiers or whatever, walking back and forth like on doing the same path, same patrol route. Or you'll see them just from a distance, just standing completely still in one spot, and you'll have them tagged with your binoculars. So you can see that they aren't very like mobile. It's like, oh, these guys are just in this one little area, just going in like walking back and forth in a line. Like, all right, and I can get around that pretty easily if they just keep doing that. They'll be doing it for ever, you know what I mean? Until you get like close, once you get close to them, then it seems like a completely new like patrol route kicks in. Like, it's almost like there's two layers to it. There's like a basic one, like a placeholder AI pattern to make it seem like they're doing something, when you're like far away from them, like the simple thing, just to be like, all right, well, these guys are here, like they're placed here in the game and they're just going to fucking do their thing. And then, once you trigger what they had in, like, they have like they designed in mind like an actual patrol route for them to do, which is more like complex and shit. But that won't kick in until you're close enough. Like once you trigger whatever, some kind of invisible fucking trigger to kick the AI in. It's like, all right, now you're in this area and now you have to deal with this again. Like once you get close, it's probably a compromise they had to make, I'm sure, because the levels are so big, they can't just have all this shit happening like at once. You know what I mean? But it can still like fuck up your plans when you think a Nazi's going to do one thing. The same thing he's always been doing since you spotted him an hour ago, as being an upright, patriotic citizen. Then you get near him and like he changes course and it causes all sorts of fucking like new problems of like, well, I had to like get through this fucking building and it seemed like everybody was outside of it. Now I'm here and now they're just like they're going inside, they're going upstairs and shit and like going in, all these different routes, and it's fucking like, oh, I wish I knew that before. I could have like taken them out when they were outside, but I was trying to like be cautious, but I guess I can't be. Another weird thing is how Sniper Elite 4 deals with silenced ammo. If you didn't catch that, yes, I said silenced ammo, not silencers or silenced weapons. So you pick a loadout for yourself before you start a mission. It's different kinds of rifles and SMGs or shotguns and pistols, and as you play, you unlock more. It's an XP system. You level up, and it just unlocks more shit. But I swear that I've picked pistols that say they're silenced. And then I'm playing it, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm in an area, I need a silenced pistol, pull up my pistol that said it was silenced, take a shot, and it's like, oh, it's definitely not silenced. Like, everybody fucking hears me. But then you'll search, like, a dead body or a crate or something like that, and you'll find, like, a silenced rifle or silenced pistol, like rifle or pistol ammo, but it's silenced ammo. And then you can open up the radial menu and switch your ammo type to, you click the mouse and it's like, all right, you switch over to silenced ammo now instead of regular ammo. And suddenly even like the M1 Garand I'm using, it's like, no, that's just like a silenced weapon. You're using a different type of ammo. Now I'm no gun nut, but I don't think the ammo that you use in a weapon is what determines how loud it is. You'd have to attach a suppressor like in any other video game. And I do know enough about real guns to know that even like how suppressors are portrayed in like movies and games, like that's not like realistic. Like that's not right. Like it's still, they don't make the guns go pew pew when you shoot them and then like nobody can hear it. It's more to just protect the person firing it from going deaf. But in Sniper Elite 4, you have this like separate ammo type. You load it into your gun, and then it's like, oh, magically now it's silenced. Now your rifle is just silenced because of the fucking ammo. And I have like no problem with that from a gameplay standpoint. It's like you have to just like something you have to collect. Like the silenced rounds are rare, so you only use them when you have to, like when you're in a jam or whatever. But in a game that's supposed to be like somewhat realistic, I guess, it's just like an odd choice to go with that rather than like all the other shit they could have done instead. Rather than like giving you like, hey, it's a suppressor that you get and the quality of it like degenerates after every shot you take, whatever. You have to like switch out. You have to like find a new suppressor or whatever. Like that would have made more sense. It's just like odd. It's just like, that's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Fucking silenced ammo. I mean, I am glad I went back to the game though. It is a blast to fucking play, even if the levels are really long. It can take like over an hour to get through most of them, but it's rewarding when you do anyway. Maybe that will be Sniper Elite 4. That'll be one that I stick with until the end and finally finish a game and get my groove back. Who knows? But, to mix it up, to try to make the show somewhat interesting, which I'm obviously failing at, but what are you going to do? Try being the operative keyword there. A new adventure game came out by The Brotherhood, the same developers who made that game Stasis that I really liked because it reminded me of that other game, Sanitarium. Then recently I tried playing fucking Sanitarium, and that really wasn't as good as Stasis. Like Sanitarium wasn't as good as I remembered it. Like fucking, I played Stasis. I'm like, this is cool. It's a little low budget Sanitarium. And you go and play Sanitarium now. It's like, I think like the newer game, it might have been a little bit better. But yeah, this new one is called, Beautiful Desolation. And it's, still another like throwback adventure game. These guys here, the Brotherhood, they seem to really nail that concept. And yeah, true to the name, it is a beautiful game to look at. Not Blade Runner beautiful, but it's technically better looking and cleaner. It's one of those like, this game kind of looks how you would remember an old PC game looking, but it looks a lot better deals. Again, like Blade Runner, I like the look of that. Obviously, I was a big fan of that. I did the whole fucking rant about it multiple times, I think. But it's still like technically, it's like, it's a little pixely and fucking old and shit. And it's fucking, this is new. It's just fucking just looks like clean and shit. But so it starts out with a video playing. I want to say it's like an FMV video. I guess it probably technically is, but it's not like live actors or anything like that. Not like a live action cutscene. It's still like CGI. So yeah, it's playing in this small window on the screen. Like those old games where they'd have pre-rendered cutscenes that are at like a different resolution than the rest of the game. So it's playing this video in a box, and the box is like wood paneling surrounding it, and like there's like another like border around that. So it like nails that set. Like that's what they would do in fucking older games and shit. So yeah, there's a couple driving in a car in the rain, and they're talking about doing like an intervention for one of their brothers, and they give you dialogue options to pick from as your responses, and that conversation goes on for about 5 minutes. Then there's like a flash of light in the sky, and the car gets overturned somehow, and there's some kind of like vague apocalyptic event that happened. Kind of like the road, like what happened to the road, which is fucking, I don't know, they looked out the windows, a flash, and everything's fucking on fire and shit, like that type of deal. Then the game flash forwards sometime in the future. I think the whole entire the game's supposed to take place in the 1980s in South Africa as like an alternate history timeline type thing. I couldn't tell you the first thing about the real history of South Africa, other than you don't want to go there now. I think District 9 is probably the safest area to be in, but. You're in a hangar, like an airplane hangar. He's walking around, and that's kind of where you learn the basic controls of the game. And they are pretty basic. I mean, you just click around to move your character, and every now and then you'll see something on the ground you can interact with, like a computer you can connect to, or like an object you can pick up and put in your inventory. I mean, it's a fucking point and click adventure game. That's pretty much really all there is to it. Like walking around, picking shit up, putting in your inventory, fucking around with computers, that type of shit. But the world is really interesting to explore. It's fucking weird. It's unique. Even for like exploring that hangar that you start out in, like you're just learning about like what happened, like the cataclysm, and you're watching like news reels, like news videos playing about like what the state of the world is in. There's these floating robot drones and something in the sky called the Penrose, and it's the whole thing's like intentionally strange and like vague about what happened and like what the fuck is going on like in this fucking world. And that's not just me not paying attention like I usually do to fucking video game stories. It's fucking, this guy, I get that it's trying to be kind of like weird and artsy and shit and not tell you everything. So yeah, then you find your brother in the hangar, and I'm pretty sure it's the brother that you were talking about at the beginning of the game. The character you're controlling is the husband in the car that got overturned or whatever. He's got like a fucking leg brace on from the accident. And that's more, that really is more just me not paying attention to it. But whatever that is. So the two of you take a military helicopter up to the Penrose, like there's some station in the sky, and you interact with a computer, and you're trying to download some files on there. And then shit gets even more complicated and fucking strange, because you go through a portal that displaces time and space, and you have to figure out like where and when you are now. And it just gets really, really weird. Really, really weird. Some old robot dog security guard tries to kill you, then you make friends with it like 2 seconds later, and you mysteriously have like this key card in your inventory that may not be a key card at all. It has like all these like circles with like faces and skulls in it, and it's called like, hey, you moused over it to see a description. It's like, hey, this is the simulacrum or some shit. And there's like a circle in the middle of it that's filling up with some kind of fluid randomly. I think it's just like a progress indicator, like as you play the game, and you do like more shit you have to do to fucking like complete it. It's fucking just like, oh, it's like fills up with fluid. It's just fucking, it's strange. Hours later after finding that, I was like, I don't know what this is. And like, 2 more hours, 3 more hours, I'm like, I still have no idea what the fuck this is in my inventory. So yeah, you crash land on a beach and you lose your brother, and there's some fucking giant robotic skeleton talking to you cryptically. Yeah, it's out there. Beautiful Desolation is a fucking out there game. I mean, not a whole lot of it makes sense. I mean, maybe it will later on, like once you explore and you uncover the mysteries of like, I don't even know what the fuck like the overall objective of the game is at this point. I'm just fucking like running around, picking stuff up, talking to odd people and creatures and robots and shit. And that just opens up more questions than it provides answers, really. I'm running around a beach. It's like, hey, I found an item to put in my inventory. It's like a gold hood ornament off a car. And it's like, I probably need this later. But it's like, no, it's not even like a puzzle thing. It's just like anything that you find that's gold, you turn in at like a trading post. You trade that in for credits, then you use the credits to buy some fucking random shit. Some random shit you probably need to solve puzzles later, you know what I mean? It's just really esoteric shit in the game. That's what it should be called. Beautiful, esoteric shit. Desolation. So, like, these are fucking, like, old school, like, Secret of Monkey Island style adventure game puzzles. So yeah, right now there's this guy guarding a door that I need to get past, and he wants some herbs that'll let him communicate with his dead family members. But So it's like, all right, so we got to give this guy herbs, but in order to get the herbs, you have to take this special gourd that he gives you and put some seeds into it, which you find in like a completely different, unrelated area of the game. So I got that far where I combined the fucking seeds with the gourd, but now I have uncultivated herb seeds. And I'm assuming you have to like plant that somewhere, but I'm also remembering that the guy said something about like, oh, it needs mother's milk to grow. And so maybe I have to find some fucking alien cow and milk it or something. I don't know. It could be fucking anything, you know. I'm just fucking like running around looking for icons. And if I get stuck, I just run around, go back to places I've already been, just fucking run around, see if I missed anything on the ground, like a little pixel somewhere. It's like old school adventure, like pixel hunting type shit. So I'm not quite sure if I like the gameplay of Beautiful Desolation or not yet, but, you know, it was like whenever I enter a new area, it's like, oh, the fucking artwork is great, beautiful even, you could say. You know, the music's good. I mean, the music's done by Mick Gordon of Doom fame, among other things. Killer Instinct, I think, all that shit. So, you know, I like the initial exploration of it. You know, even like some of the puzzles aren't particularly difficult that I've run across right now. I mean, there was some computer screen with a bunch of symbols on it, and it's just pretty much like if you thoroughly explored all the other areas, you found like these journal pages that had symbols in them. So it's like, all right, just match up the symbols that are in the notebook onto this computer, and that's pretty much the puzzle. Then you get some other random item from that, which is to do like, who the fuck knows what you're supposed to do with that. I think it's like some computer chip you had to like bring to some other guy. I mean, even as I'm solving these puzzles, it's like, all right, so I solved this. Don't know what it did. I'm fucking like, it just kind of gives you, oh, here's another piece of something to go figure out what the fuck to do with this now. That's pretty much the gameplay. It's a point and click adventure. You point, you click, and that's all well and good until you run out of stuff to click on and you're kind of directionless. So, I mean, we'll see. Someday, in some time and someplace, I will make my way through one of these here video games. And I was hoping this would be the week to end my ADD streak, but I'm still a fucking mess. I mean, I've always been a fucking mess, but I had to get up at like 3 different times this week for work projects and doctor's appointments and shit like that. I know it's fucking excuses, but who knew that playing video games would be so much work? I did. That's why there hasn't been any new reviews up at www.gruntfreepress.com since like October. And also why you should write some emails into podcast@gruntfreepress.com, because the only thing harder than trying to play video games when your head is being pulled in a million different directions is trying to fill time on a video game podcast when you've barely played any video game. So I'm not going to fool you guys and try to fucking kill more time and pretend that I fucking have anything interesting to say, because I don't. So that's where you come in. You email me, write something. I don't give a shit what it is. Do my job for me. I'm absolute deicide. Bring back the chippa, you fucking sock cucka.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the surviving is knowing what to throw away, knowing what to keep. Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser, and the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back toward the window, crushed out a cigarette, faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. But in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the dealing's done, you got to know when to hold 'em, when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the dealing's done, you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting. When the deal is done.